Uncrowned king, it's time for the reckoning.
Your Lordship, Mrs. O'Shea has at this very late juncture, seen fit to withdraw her defense. Nonetheless, the charges made against my client remain on record. I ask that Captain O'Shea be permitted to give evidence to refute the claim of connivance, a claim we maintain as base as it is baseless.
Mr. Lockwood. If it please your lordship, as of this morning, I hold only a watching brief for Mrs. O'Shea. The co-respondent is not represented. Sir Edward, you may proceed.
Really, I don't tell it to inflict hurt. The man despises you, and I'm asking why. And you despise him in return, and yet you stick fast. Body and soul, you're still his creatures.
Yes.
Well, more bloody fools you, then.
He hasn't addressed a meeting in Ireland in 4 years. He no longer runs the party. We do. You saw him at Westminster today. Well, you were privileged. It's the first time he's been there in a month. If the sky fell in, we wouldn't know where to find him.
Aye, and if we did know, we daren't let on.
Hands of a... We're in the hands of a madman. I mean it. He's not in his proper... God, I'm tired.
Then why? What's the magic?
The magic, Mr. Dent, is that he has what we want. What I want. Whatever poor hope we have of home rule, without him, we've none. He and it are bound together. And as long as they remain so, then yes, I am what you are pleased to call his creature. I'm one of his creatures. Oh, God in heaven, why do you think we allowed him to force Willie O'Shea on us in Galway? He thought it was the price of O'Shea's wife. Now the man he's put horns on has spiked his guns.
True, Tim. True for you, boy.
He spares us nothing.
No matter, we'll stick by him. We'll stand fast for the greater good and devil's cure to him.
This morning I had Parnell's word for it, that as far as Mrs. O'Shea is concerned, he is guiltless.
Joe, you're not well. Will you go?
Who dared to tell you
He
that?
assured me that the dishonor and discredit would not be on his side.
Ah, that's different.
How is it?
Adultery is a fact. Honor is a matter of opinion.
Well, whatever it is, if I'd been made a bloody fool of...
Joe.
Yeah, you're right. I'm off home to my bed.
I'll see you there safely.
No. I'm going home to Belfast. Do you know? The cold fish he is. I lay odds he'll not even come to my funeral.
You were Mr. Parnell's colleague at Westminster, were you not?
That is so.
During an 1886 by-election, did Mr. Parnell sponsor you as parliamentary candidate for the city of Galway?
He did.
Why?
I had been of much service to him in the past. He professed to be grateful. He said that I might be of service yet again.
Do you now believe that to be true?
I do not. I now know that he wished to have me at a disadvantage. He thought that he had bought me, that I would look the other way, while he and my wife would...
Quite so. When you discovered this, what did you
I did what any man of honor would. I resigned my seat.
And yet you did not at once file suit for divorce. Will you tell his lordship why?
Because, beyond all reason, I still hoped that my wife would turn from the folly of her ways. I thought she might find him out for what he was. I pleaded with her. If not for my sake, then for our little one. It's hopeless. His evil was in her blood.
One last question, Captain O'Shea. You are aware, are you not, that your wife alleges instances of misconduct on your own part?
I think you need not put your question, Sir Edward.
Your name is Caroline Pethers?
Sir?
You're in the employment of Mrs. Catherine O'Shea.
I was the cook.
Just so. And where was this?
At Brighton, sir.
How long were you there?
4 months, until my husband wouldn't have it. He said it weren't respectable.
Indeed. And why was that?
Hearsay, Sir Edward.
Obliged to your lordship. Pethers, do you know this man?
Yes, sir, that's Mr. Stewart.
I offer it in evidence. Your lordship will note that it is a likeness of the correspondent, Parnell.
Called himself Stewart.
I will bring evidence to show it was a frequent pseudonym of his, that he used other false names, including Clement S. Preston, your lordship will take note of the initials, and Mr. Fox.
Fox. At least that was well chosen.
Pethers, what do you know of this Mr. Stewart?
Well, he'd come to visit the mistress.
And when did he come to visit the mistress?
All the time.
In daylight?
Well, sometimes he did, yes. Mine, though, they only went out at night.
On the occasions when he and the mistress remained indoors, what did they do?
Oh, really, Sir Edward?
I don't know. I mean, they locked themselves in.
They did what?
Whatever room they was in, they locked it. If I wanted to ask about dinner, I had to knock and wait. And then him or her'd open it. Maybe that much.
And how long was it before the door was opened? That much?
Oh, could be 5 minutes.
As long as that. Now, when Mr. Stewart was in residence, did Captain O'Shea ever happen to call?
Oh, didn't he just?
For what purpose?
Well, he wanted her to come home, didn't he, and mend her ways.
Mr. Lockwood, your silence is most eloquent. You are here to speak of what is fact, not to offer your opinion.
I heard him.
Very well. Captain O'Shea came to call. Then what happened?
Well, he'd come to the front door, and the Irish girl, parlour maid, would look out, and she'd say, "Oh, madam, the master's come." And then, straight off, Mr. Stewart would go tearing upstairs and out by the fire escape. Same as if old Nick were after him.
He went out by the...
Well, he must have, mustn't he? Not unless he flew. Because not 10 minutes later, before the captain had hardly got his hat and coat off, Mr. Stewart would come ringing at the front door to say as how he just happened to be in Brighton. I thought he'd drop
It is not unheard of for a wife to deceive her husband. or a husband his wife. But the case I've heard today is one almost unparalleled in infamy. Mr. Parnell is no mortal man as others are. He is a member of Parliament. He is the leader of his party and of his people. He is a being so exalted, so godlike, that his countrymen have bestowed upon him their accolade of uncrowned king. Today, I have seen a very different man. A cold-blooded voluptuary who could and did accept the hospitality of a husband the better to debauch his wife. All right-thinking men can do no other than express their disgust and revulsion. I grant a decree nisi and rule that the plaintiff shall have custody of all his and the defendant's children below the age of 16.
Anime eius ad anime omnium fidelium defunctorum per misericordium de requiescant in pace. Amen.
Our friend, Joseph Bigger, was crooked of body. And there it ends. For the man never lived that was truer of heart, or as straight in the ways of truth. Nor was there one among us who flinched less from the saying of what Joe Bigger knew must be said. We have need of him today. There are powers in England, men of the church, though not, I say, men of God, who demand that we should cast our leader from us. Men whose cry it is that we forsake the one in whose shadow we have at last secured a place in the councils of the world. I know what answer our friend would make to these people. He would tell them, as I do in this place, that Mr. Parnell is less a man than an ideal. Are we to abandon him at their bidding because of a momentary outcry that will be forgotten tomorrow? I tell these people, as Joe Bigger would tell them, let the wolves among you howl for our leader's downfall. He is not your leader. He is ours. And we shall not forsake him. Joe said the blackguard wouldn't come. And he was right.
Mr. McCarthy, it was good of you to come. Sir, I do not think you've met Mr. Justin McCarthy.
I have read Mr. McCarthy's novels, and I have heard him speak. He is one of Mr. Parnell's abler lieutenants. Sir, sit by me. Will you take refreshment?
Thank you, with respect, sir. I am pressed for time. Someone's reached you.
Sir, have pity. Our invitation?
I was about to leave for a meeting.
Yes, indeed. A meeting at which Mr. Parnell will be returned as party leader.
Mr. Gladstone, you must know that I am not charged to speak for Mr. Parnell. As to why you have brought me here, I am at a loss.
Mr. McCarthy, you were sent for...
I'm an old man, Mr. McCarthy, too old to set traps. Sir, indulge me. How goes it in Ireland? The people there, the clergy, after what has occurred, where are their loyalties?
They are for the chief. For Mr. Parnell.
Their lordships, too? The hierarchy?
Sir, with all their hearts.
How good that is to hear. What constancy in a changing world. And what a noble race. Would, sir, that the nonconformists of my own party were so rich in forgiveness. Do you know, they say that Mr. Parnell must resign. Heartless, is it not? I have implored them, I have appealed to their better selves. I have reminded them of the services rendered by Mr. Parnell to his country, and all to no avail, for unlike your Irish clerics, they cling to morality. They are resolute. It has been made mercilessly clear to me that if Mr. Parnell remains as leader, the Liberal Party will lose the next general election.
You can see that Mr. Gladstone is devastated. They threaten to desert him. If Mr. Parnell remains as leader of his party, then Mr. Gladstone must resign as leader of his.
If that happens, naturally there will be no new Home Rule bill.
We'll miss the meeting. Justin, will you get in, for God's sake? What happened? What did the old man want with you?
Gladstone. The devil has done for us.
Mr. Parnell, might I have a word urgently?
Very well. Put it under other business, Redmond. We shall speak further inside.
I've just come from Mr. Gladstone.
You have?
He sent for me. I'm inclined to think it was a random choice.
It's a sudden modesty, McCarthy.
Mr. Parnell, I was given this to do with as I pleased.
Addressed to the shadow secretary.
He was present with Mr. Gladstone. In fact, I received it from his hands.
You are showing it to me. Clever. Yes, they play the game well, those two.
What do you want me to do with it?
My dear McCarthy, how should I know? It is not my letter. Why do you show me other people's correspondence?
Sir, I think they may publish it.
They will, if they have any sense.
Will you show it to the members?
Are you mad?
The Irish never put up a statue yet, but they tore it down. Mr. Healy, will you grant us the pleasure of your company?
Now, there's an honor. Thank you, but maybe another day. As you can see, I'm with colleagues.
But am I not one? Well, at least slake the fires of my curiosity. May a waiting world know who your new leader is?
Your fires are easily slaked, sir. Our new leader is our old one.
I mean Parnell.
Did you expect another?
Oh, quite mad. You re-elected him, but how's it possible? After Mr. Gladstone's letter, how could you do it?
Letter? What letter is that?
I'm afflicted with several ailments, Healy, but until now I was not aware that stone deafness was one of them. Or could it be that you neglected to knock?
Is it true? Did Justin McCarthy show you this before the meeting?
He did.
Why then was it not shown to the members?
It was not addressed to the members, or for that matter to me.
So you kept quiet. You knew what was in it, but you sang dumb and you let yourself be re-elected.
I paid the members the compliment of assuming that they would not yield to blackmail.
Blackmail be damned. Do you know what this letter says? It is to be either Gladstone or you, and if it is you who stays, then Home Rule is gone. Do you think we're going to throw it away for your sake?
How dare you speak to me in that manner? Get out.
No. You haven't changed. You haven't learned. You'll be answerable to no one, is that it? Well, by Christ, you'll answer for this.
Get out! A storm in a pint tumbler, would you say?
I wish it were.
Redmond, do you have the least idea what would happen if I went? Today there are only Parnellites. Without me there would be Healyites, Davidites, Dylanites, Sextonites, McCarthyites. Bless the mark. There might even be Redmondites.
That will never happen.
We shall be ited into oblivion. It won't be a country we'll have, but a mosaic. Perish the thought. Come. I'll counter-thrust at Mr. Gladstone.
Hurry, Eileen, hurry.
Yes, ma'am.
And not all of it. Wait.
Shame, ma'am. I don't think it scarred the poor man.
Queenie, you stand justly rebuked. If Eileen is not to be trusted, who is? Eileen, you may pour away.
And the blanket, Eileen.
Yes, ma'am.
My dear, I fear we must make a fight of it. It's going to be tough work. Do you think you can bear it?
Speak as if it were I who was going to the wars. Can you bear it?
Why did I not show them Gladstone's letter? I could have struck a noble attitude, played the sacrificial lamb, and made him a villain. Then what a dull and happy life we might have led.
Oh, I've often thought of that life.
Could have pleaded reasons of health.
Told the truth.
But when Home Rule comes, who among them will be a match for Gladstone? I know him. No, they don't. Grand old Spider will drag them into his web and eat them alive.
So much the worse for them. Leave them. They deserve it.
Leave them? I was never of them. It is that damned country I cannot leave.
Even if it kills you. And when is the meeting?
December the 1st. In Committee Room 15. It was there they elected me. Now it is where they will seek to undo their handiwork.
I wonder if there are moments in your most private self, in your innermost heart of hearts.
Where you reside? Well?
I wonder if the thought ever comes to you, and I know it must, however quickly it's put aside. That if it had not been for me,
Then I would be the loneliest and unhappiest man on earth. Is that it?
I despair of myself.
As much as I do.
You make me so
Affectionate.
furious. I'm not a child to be tricked into good humor.
My darling, there is a member of our party, one of Tim Healy's devoted followers, who sleeps with 5 different barmaids in 5 different Irish railway hotels. Everyone knows of it, yet no one does. In the eyes of the world, the only commandment we broke, you and I, was the 11th. Thou shalt not be found out. And was ever married couple as dull as we? Or as proper?
It's not enough. Go on soaking them.
Do you know what life's most exquisite pleasure is? That old humbug Gladstone, he knows. It is to parade one's goodness for the world to see. To be admired as a man of untainted honor. And in the name of that same virtue, to destroy an enemy. There is no greater sweetness than morality triumphant. That is why they pretend a man's private life is not his own.
They pretend well.
And Healy, Timothy Healy. He's at this moment in Dublin trying to turn the priests and the people against me. He might as well be trying to uproot Gibraltar.
I will not be shouted down. I will be heard. Mr. Gladstone has said that he will resign if Mr. Parnell continues to be leader of this party.
He's bluffing!
There is not a man here but knows what that signifies. What we have worked towards, a government for Ireland, a government by, from, and within Ireland, will be lost to us, forever lost. Knowing this for truth, did Mr. Parnell offer to step down? Did he sacrifice his leadership for the greater good? Not he. Not this man. He issued, if you please, a manifesto attacking Mr. Gladstone and accusing him of plotting, and these are the very words, to throw Mr. Parnell to the English wolves that howled for his destruction. And this is what it has come to. For 10 years, we have labored to secure the trust of the English people. Now, because he himself is destroyed, Parnell, by pulling down what we have built, has destroyed us too.
Gladstone is and has always been our enemy.
Is he now? How interesting. You did not tell us so in the past. Were you lying to us then, or are you lying to us now?
I will not stand for an accusation of falsehood from Timothy Healy. I call upon him to withdraw.
Withdraw! Most certainly. Out of respect for the chair, I will happily withdraw. Mr. Parnell is not a liar. But neither is he the leader of this party. What we are witnessing today are the last twitchings of a beast that is already dead.
Mr. Chairman, I protest. Blasphemy has been uttered. I appeal to you. Exert your authority.
Authority? He has none.
No, no, for once Healy is in the right. I know for him that I have no authority. There speaks a man whose genius I was the first to see. A man I raised from the gutter. A man I educated. A man to whom I gave a seat in Parliament. A man in whose hand I put the knife with which he now attempts to destroy me. Tim Healy speaks true. I have no authority. I deserve none.
Six months ago, Mr. Parnell was the god of those who would today depose him.
And we will
I ask these men if, in their haste to be rid of a man who in 10 years turned a rabblement into a nation, if they have given thought to a party without Parnell. For when we are asked to sell out our own leader, should we not inquire what we are getting for the price we pay?
Sell him now!
Who is the man to take his place? Who is the man who, when Home Rule comes, can discuss its provisions on equal terms with the leaders of the English parties? There is no such man.
What if Mr. Parnell should die?
I don't propose to die.
The look of you says different. Whether you go down or not, sir, you are only one man. Heads of greater leaders than you have been stricken on the block before now for Ireland.
Not by their own friends. Not by their comrades.
And the Irish cause remains. You declare that the country is for you. Go to it then, go to it.
So we will.
And you will perish.
Mr. Chairman, you engineered, and more credit to you, an alliance between this party and the Liberals. You said, and I have it here, an alliance which I venture to believe will last. Now it is no more. Why? I ask you to tell the members what broke it off.
You know the answer to that.
Gladstone's letter. Not at all. No letter was needed. Home Rule perished in the stench of the divorce court.
Healy, a word, if you please. I am told you believed yesterday that I had a revolver in my pocket and was about to use it.
I had heard so. I gave it no credence.
I am glad to hear it. Healy, let us shake hands now. For it will be the last time.
Thank you, Parnell.
Mr. Parnell. Please.
Tim, wash your hands after him. Don't believe a word he tells you. Trickster! That's all he is. Dirty trickster!
An extraordinary spectacle, is it not? No one but Parnell can unify the Irish, even when they're bent on mass suicide.
Morley, when Gladstone threw that bomb into the Irish camp, did he know it would do so much mischief?
How could he? Who could guess that when it blew up, they'd pick up the pieces and cut each other's throats with them?
This very weekend, Justin McCarthy attempted to get assurances from Mr. Gladstone on the Home Rule Bill. He failed. Gladstone will say nothing until I am gone and you are in his power. What will he do for you then? Nothing. There is not a single one of the lot of them who can be trusted. The Irish must trust themselves.
Can we trust you?
I think I have the right, and it is not an unfair thing to ask, that I should come within sight of the promised land.
Mr. Chairman, let the talking be done with. I move that the chair be vacated.
The member is ruled out of order. The motion before the party is that the chairman will reconsider his position.
Let's reconsider it and be off with you. Consider this.
The member will...
Where the priests of Ireland lead, the people of Ireland will follow. The holy priests have turned on you.
His name is Abraham, and he talks...
I have here a telegram from the Archbishop of Dublin. Catholic Ireland will not accept as its leader a man dishonored.
The member does not have the floor.
Let him finish. A man dishonored and wholly unworthy of Christian confidence.
The member is out of order.
I will not be silenced. McCarthy, you read it. See what it says.
How dare you, sir? How dare you attempt to usurp me in the chair? Until the party deposes me, I am chairman. Then depose me.
Let us have sanity. Are we savages? Do you know what you are asking for? Do you? If he is deposed, Gladstone will be the party's new leader.
Rubbish! Since when has he been a member of the party? For God's sake, man, by our very presence here we do his bidding. He is already master of the party. Is he? Is he indeed? Then who is to be mistress of the party? Please, this is not seemly. I appeal
Chair! Oh, not to me! Better appeal to your friend! Better appeal to that cowardly little scoundrel there who dares, in an assembly of Irishmen, to insult a woman!
Please, can we not all behave as befits gentlemen?
I will rephrase my original motion.
The member is ruled out of order.
Through the chair. I see no further use in carrying on a discussion which must be barren of all save reproach, ill temper, controversy, and indignity. I suggest that all who think with me at this grave crisis should withdraw with me from this room.
They could have deposed me by signing a declaration. Now, by deserting, it is they who are gone, not I. Gentlemen, we have won today. The meeting is adjourned.
Mrs. O'Shea! Mrs. O'Shea! Get up, if you please! It is time. It is time to become Mrs. Parnell.
You look lovely in that lace stuff in the...
Thank you, my love. Most eloquent. Do you know that's the first time that you have ever praised my clothes?
Is it? Do I have need to? Your things become you. Always.
Eileen, Lillian, Phyllis, off with you to the railway station. I'll wait till Dictator gets us to the registrar's office before they get there by train. Now let Dictator go with all his might. It's not every woman who makes so good a marriage as you are making, Queenie.
And to such a handsome fellow. It's never ending. Must we open them all?
Of course. I like to read the nice ones, and I can't possibly tell which is which until I read them. Now, this one looks like all that is good and kind on the outside. Thick, good paper, beautiful handwriting. And inside it is unprintable.
Let me have it.
No, have this one instead. It's from a peasant woman in Galway who calls down upon our heads more blessings than heaven could ever afford. Charlie, why do you stare at me? You make me shy.
If a cat may look at a king, a man may surely look at his wife.
Let's see what this is. What on earth is... Oh, it's a toy of some kind. Charlie, look.
They sell them in London. It's meant to be a fire escape.
Aren't people loathsome?
It's firewood.
Yes, Eileen, what is it?
Please, sir.
Justin McCarthy. Here. Yes, you may show him in.
Yes, sir.
McCarthy. Come all this way. Well, now.
Was he not one of those who deserted you?
Oh, no. Others did. Not he. He's a nice old gent for a tea party. No, I do him an injustice. He is not a turncoat. He did not desert. He left. And at cost to himself. I shall be glad to see him. Charles. My dear fellow, you are very welcome. Thank you. Darling, I don't think you have met Justin McCarthy.
Oh, Charles, what a poor memory you have.
In the long ago, it was I who dared the lady to capture the uncrowned king for her dinner table. Mrs. Parnell. How kind of you to receive me. I, of course, learned of your marriage and thought to pay my respects in person. It was generous of you to receive me.
My generosity is a byword. You will stay to dinner.
Oh, no.
Oh, but yes.
Already I intrude. You are, pardon me, newly wedded.
McCarthy. Now it can be said at last. We have been newly wedded these 10 years.
Charles.
You could have sent a note or telegraphed your felicitation.
Yes.
Instead, you are here.
Do you go to Kilkenny next week?
You know I must. My man is to be elected.
He will not be. Charles, in Dublin, you are safe. There, they are faithful unto death. In the country, the priests have turned the people against you. At Sunday Mass in Carlow Town, the parish priest set his parishioners on 3 men who were loyal to you. In Sligo, a boy shouted, "God save Parnell," and his priest beat him senseless.
You think I fear them?
On the contrary. What I fear is that you do not fear them. There is worse. Tim Healy is in Kilkenny, and he swears that he will drive you to either the grave or the asylum. He incites the crowds. He defames not only you, but
my wife.
The people, they... Forgive me.
Go on.
They make game of her. To them, she is Kitty O'Shea. They give catcalls.
They do what?
They imitate the meow of cats. There is no vilification too low, no word too scurrilous. Charles, as a friend, not an opponent, I beg you, do not go to Kilkenny. The cause is lost.
Put this in the carriage, Eileen. Can you manage?
Yes, ma'am.
No, Eileen. This bag and Mr. Parnell are not to be parted.
Yes, ma'am.
You mark what I say?
Yes, Queenie.
Be sure now. You may as well be off, then. No. I'll not say goodbye to you. If you want to kiss me, then come back and you may do it. want there to be every reason in the world for you to live. Even one as small as that. Do you understand me?
Small, you say?
Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, your hour is drawing near. All of Catholic Ireland will look to you this day to give answer to the vileness which has come into our midst. This is not a man in God's image, even as you or I, but a putrefying political corpse. No, not even that. An animal that takes his pleasures even as the beasts of the field. An adulterer, lost to all decency, to all shame, a creation of the devil, a traitor to his country and to the Christian faith. I abjure you, on pain of answering to God on the last day of awful judgment, show this Antichrist your detestation of him and of his English harlot.
The right to say to his country, thus far shalt thou go, and no further. We have never attempted to fix the ne plus ultra to the progress of Ireland's nationhood, and we never shall. Leave them, you kill yourself. English whores in Ireland. In standing before you, I will not resort to the tactics of my enemies. You bastard. I will not waste my time on scum! Nor will I emulate the gutter sparrow, Timothy Healy! Nor will I stoop to the tactics of the lowest of his kind, a jackdaw in a foul nest! Call Davy! Take that!
What is it? Flour? Is it flour? Quicklime.
My darling, in spite of our setbacks, I think we may yet carry the day. Carlow was an improvement on Kilkenny, and in Sligo, those who came to hear me were for entire minutes on end cordial. On Sunday, I am to speak at Cabinteely. It is but 7 miles from Dublin. If goodwill can travel the distance, then there at least I shall be among the faithful. My eye is now perfectly well, but I continue to sport a bandage. You know what a play actor I am. In Dublin, I complained to Dr. Kenny of a rheumatic pain in my left arm. He has made me wear a sling, so now I look like a soldier from the wars returning. I shall be at home with you late on Thursday. I return not in defeat, but knowing that if my candidates went to the wall, it was not for want of valor on my part. My honor is without taint. Now, my love, We can look forward to the days ahead when the storms and thunderings will be quiet at last. There are other places in the world than Ireland.
We fight not for faction, but for freedom. I know that you look to our future as a nation if we can gain it. If not, it will be left for those who come after us to win. We shall do our best.
Really? I lost it. And I lost the bag.
The bag, darling. What bag?
The one in which you put my change of stocking. It could not be found. I took a wetting.
If you please, ma'am. I hung the master's things in the boiler to get the damp out. If out will ever come.
Thank you, Eileen.
And I took the liberty, ma'am, which was in the pockets. Will I get the decanter for the doctor, ma'am?
Yes, do, Eileen. Well, Sir Henry.
I have given Mr. Parnell some medicine. You must nurse him devotedly now as in the past.
He's so worn out.
Yes, that's the root of it. There may be a rheumatism of the heart, or perhaps the merest lumbar pneumonia. A man in good health would throw off either in a trice. What is disquieting is Mr. Parnell has no strength left.
I see. What he requires, then, will be complete rest. And that is what I've promised he shall have. Should he go abroad, do you think?
Mr. Parnell, I don't think you quite grasp what I say. There's nothing left. He's quite used up.
Conservative Party.
Ridiculous. I should have said the Liberals.
Oh, darling, you're feverish.
It will burn itself out. Kiss me, sweet wifey, and let me sleep a while.
Yes, to sleep. It will. Johnny? Oh.
He's dead!